Weather and the Hour is brought to you by Teplic Laser Surgery Centers. Your vision for the future.
On World News Tonight this Tuesday, a nasty day in Seattle. Thousands of people angry and disenchanted with the results of freer trade in the world. On the Mexican-U.S. border, they are digging up victims of the drug culture. Reducing human error in the hospital. Get rid of the paperwork, go to the computer. And we'll take a closer look at the lawsuit against Consumer Reports. It has to do with these road tests.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. It's a pretty good rule of thumb that when the weather is bad, there is less likelihood of a large outdoor gathering being successful. Not in Seattle today. There were so many people upset with the World Trade Organization, the WTO, which is meeting there this week, that opening the conference today was a very dicey affair. The opening ceremonies had to be canceled. For a while, the most radical demonstrators who do not shy away from violence were the center of attention. But throughout the day, thousands of people in Seattle and elsewhere were united in their opposition to the various consequences of trade in a global economy. We're going to begin with ABC's John Cochran.
No American city is more dependent on global commerce than Seattle. But today it was home to protests against world trade. Police tried to clear a path for delegates. But when protesters refused to move, police fired pepper spray pellets. Several protesters claimed police used unnecessary force. Many residents stayed home to avoid trouble. Others found themselves stuck in endless traffic jams. It wasn't any easier for delegates to the WTO conference. Several delegates, including this one from the Philippines, found themselves blocked by protesters from entering the conference center.
I can't get to it. I want to go to work.
By mid-afternoon, police abandoned some parts of downtown so they could provide security around the conference center. Protests shut down much of the city. Sympathetic longshoremen shut down ports here and elsewhere on the West Coast for several hours. Taxis disappeared as drivers also struck in sympathy. Among all the demonstrations, the biggest was organized by labor unions, worried that more trade agreements will encourage American companies to move their operations to other poorer countries.
The demonstrators feel that in the past, their protests have been largely ignored. Their anger is aimed not just at the World Trade Organization, but at one of its biggest supporters, President Clinton. He will be here tomorrow.
Before departing for the West Coast, the president tried to assure demonstrators that this time their protests are being taken seriously.
We should open the process up to all those people who are now demonstrating on the outside. They ought to be a part of it.
The U.S. will also try to get a firm commitment for new trade talks that could help Americans, making it easier for American farmers to compete, lowering barriers for Americans trying to sell services such as banking and telecommunications, and forcing WTO members to renounce harsh working conditions, including child labor. What bothers the Clinton administration is that the protests could drown out all the good things the president believes free trade has brought to America. John Cochran, ABC News, Seattle.
The WTO's defenders, and there are many, say the organization has cut tariffs on world trade, meaning greater economic growth and tens of millions of jobs for workers around the world. And it is true that some of those people in the streets of Seattle are determined to get attention by any means. But there are others truly disenchanted with the way things are going and with something significant to say. ABC's Deborah Wong has spent the day with some of them.
We're here for all the people of the world.
They began gathering before dawn, thousands of protesters with 1,000 different stories, undeterred by the rain. A children's advocate who once ran for Congress.
The issue of world trade treaties is the most important issue facing our children and ourselves at this time.
A high school student who says he learned in class the WTO hurts the environment.
It's terrible what they've done, and I'm out here to protest that.
And a university professor who's seen it all before.
Some of us who were there in the 60s and were working for peace and justice are back here. We've been there all the time.
And they're fighting for essentially the same issues they campaigned for in the 60s. Corporations, which they say are still exploiting workers in the third world. Agribusiness, still putting small farmers out of work. mining companies still displacing peasants from the land.
There is a general dissatisfaction here with corporate culture, absolutely, and we're not going to have that slammed down our throats.
But what is different is that for these protesters, this single organization, the WTO, has come to symbolize just about all that's wrong in the modern world.
So in this global economy where bigger is better and only the fittest survive, these people complain they have less and less control over their jobs and the laws which protect their communities.
If our kids, when they become adults, cannot even create the quality of life, that is the American dream. What do we have left? Nothing else matters.
And they will stay here, making their opinions known for the rest of the week. Deborah Wong, ABC News, Seattle.
The other major news today in Mexico, just over the Texas border on 2 Mexican ranches, they've begun the process of digging up what appear to be casualties of the drug trade. Mexican and U.S. officials believe that dozens of bodies are buried on 2 or more ranches across the border from El Paso, the victims of a powerful Mexican drug cartel. And there is a suspicion that some of the bodies might be American. Here's ABC's Mike Von Frem.
It was a tip from an informant that brought more than 60 U.S. government agents to this remote Mexican ranch 18 miles across the border. With dogs and earth-penetrating radar that was used to locate bodies in Kosovo, FBI agents recovered the first of what may be more than 100 bodies. They are obviously preparing for a large-scale excavation.
During the past 4 years and possibly longer, citizens of both countries have disappeared without a trace.
Mexican officials today said they believe that there are more than 20 U.S. citizens buried at the ranches. All of the remains found here will be sent to Washington for DNA testing. The FBI says it does not believe that any of its agents are buried here, but officials believe it is likely that the bodies of some informants may be recovered. U.S. officials say that everyone buried here is believed to have either participated in drug trafficking or known about it. The owner of one of the ranches was arrested today. He is believed to be a senior member of the Juarez drug cartel. The death of cartel leader Amado Carrillo Fuentes in 1997 touched off a bloodbath for the control of his empire. In the last 3 years, more than 200 people in this part of Mexico have vanished. They are called the disappeared. Some were seen last in the hands of Mexican law enforcement. Mexican officials concede that the drug cartel penetrated Juarez police.
What is the involvement of Mexican police agents in this operation, in complicity with drug traffickers? That's a big question that is going to arise here.
Many Mexican soldiers patrolling the grave sites wear masks to hide their identity from the drug lords. Another sign of just how powerful those drug lords have become. Mike Von Frem, ABC News, Juarez.
As we heard from Mike Von Frem, some of the people believed to be buried on these ranches were last seen in the hands of the Mexican police. Drug money is a powerful force in Mexico. And it is not rare for Mexicans who are supposed to be policing the drug trade to be profiting from it. Here's ABC's Bob Woodruff.
There are thousands of drug-related killings in Mexico every year. And according to the former head of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, the killers are sometimes from the Mexican government.
Very often, the individuals who do the kidnapping or do the torturing or do the murders are police officers or ex-police officers.
Drug traffickers sometimes pay police to kill or simply look the other way, and they are rarely prosecuted.
What we have seen is a lack of sufficient concern on the part of Mexican authorities to investigate and bring to justice those responsible for this type of abuse.
In the past decade, dozens of Mexican officials have been tied to the drug trade. 2 years ago, Mexico's own drug czar, General Gutierrez Rebollo, was arrested for colluding with Mexican traffickers. Still, the U.S. goes on supporting Mexico's anti-drug program, with more than $100 million in equipment, training, and aircraft parts since 1997. Today, America's current drug czar defended the relationship.
American people are better defended by having a partnership than trying to roll up our borders.
And even the gruesome discoveries in Juarez will not change that policy. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, Washington.
When we come back, we'll have some of the other news. Reducing errors by reducing the paperwork. One hospital cuts back on the medical mistakes. And finding a better way to predict the course of a hurricane. It's the last day of the season.
20 years now, where they going?
help with those?
I can do it.
20 years. I don't know.
I mean, you just caught an etch. It happens.
I sit and I wonder sometimes.
Year after year, it's good to have someone you can depend on. Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
What's the secret to great-tasting Alfredo sauce? It starts from scratch. Classico introduces new creamy Alfredo sauce, inspired by the made-from-scratch recipes of Rome. New Classico Alfredo. Made from scratch taste makes it Classico.
Honey, I'm going to Staples to pick up a few gifts. Be back soon.
Attention, shoppers. Looking for the perfect gift? Well, check out aisle 3 for great prices on Sharp mobile organizers. And save on Panasonic phones. No, not you! You! Yes. And I, or any husband, would love one of those nice global chairs. I need a leather one. Get a leather chair!
For great gift ideas and over 7,000 items at guaranteed low prices at Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
There is powerful new evidence today that a smoke-free, low-cholesterol lifestyle can mean a much longer life, as much as 6 to 10 years longer, the study says. The studies in the Journal of the American Medical Association tracked more than 350,000 people for many years. JAMA also noted that Americans who live that healthy lifestyle are, in their words, rare birds. A study of more than 6,000 patients who had biopsies to test for cancer found that between 1% and 2% received totally wrong results. That study by researchers at Johns Hopkins University says getting a second opinion saves lives and saves money. Yesterday, the government said it wants a federal agency to monitor medical mistakes because they are the 8th leading cause of death in the United States. Tonight, we're going to go to a hospital where they have taken a significant step forward by replacing the vagaries of paperwork with the precision of the computer. Here's ABC's Judy Muller.
At LDS Hospital in Salt Lake, the pharmacist has an error rate of 0%. The pharmacist is a computerized robot that selects medications according to individual barcodes.
It doesn't make mistakes, it doesn't go on break, and it doesn't call in sick.
The robot is one part of an advanced information system that has made this hospital a national model for reducing the kind of medical errors that plague other hospitals.
Is there much pain over there right now?
Handwritten charts have been replaced with bedside computers, which are linked to an enormous database. The computer monitors every aspect of a patient's condition, including kidney function, which can be critical to how well a patient can handle medication.
I think most hospitals and physicians and pharmacists know that you have to change the doses of drugs based on kidney function, but in the hustle and bustle of providing health care, that tends to get overlooked.
The computer sends out an alert when it spots potential drug overdoses or allergic reactions. Everyone from the nurse to the doctor to the lab is informed at the same time, no matter where they are. With this system, doctors can log on from home to check on a patient, even monitor their current heart activity. And the system links 18 affiliated hospitals in 3 states, so a patient's history travels with him. From pathologist to patients, everyone seems to appreciate a system that cuts down on the chance for human error.
It impresses me that there's less error for not being able to interpret a physician or a nurse's handwriting. The computers are pretty clear on what that says.
The benefits are pretty clear as well. LDS says it has cut by 2/3 the number of severe drug errors. Judy Muller, ABC News, Salt Lake City.
When we come back, Super Ensemble producing a better hurricane forecast.
World News Tonight with Peter Jennings and On the Money. Brought to you by Merrill Lynch.
Yeah, let me get this straight.
Yes.
Are you actually saying I don't have to pay you a separate commission every time I trade a stock?
Exactly.
I'd pay an annual fee instead. Right. Is anyone getting this?
If we don't pay you a commission every time we trade, what's your motivation?
It's just like always, Ann, your best interest. Could you just explain it again?
Maybe what it is the fee is based on the value of our portfolios. So when we succeed, they succeed.
Well, you'll have to be patient with us. This is all very new.
The Spot Lifter is Bissell's Wash It Down, Lift It Up, Get On With Your Life cordless deep cleaner. Life's messy. Clean it up.
Hey.
This is for those ready to hit the road.
Hit the road.
This is for the long way home.
This is for those who want to widen their horizons.
This is for the passing lane.
This is for right now.
Right now.
Hit the road for 2.9% APR financing, and you can get average finance savings of up to $16.18 on a 2000 Grand Prix GT.
This is for me.
For me.
Hit the road for Pontiac driving excitement.
This is for me.
It's time. Time for your heartburn to kick in because your heartburn relief gave out. It happens 2 or more days a week, even though you've treated it and changed your diet. That frequent, persistent heartburn may be due to acid reflux disease, potentially serious.
It's Prilosec time. Time to see your doctor about prescription Prilosec. Your results may vary, but for many people, Prilosec provides 24 hours of complete heartburn relief with 1 daily dose. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. 24 hours of complete heartburn relief is possible. It's Prilosec time.
This is the last day of the official 1999 hurricane season as designated by the National Weather Service. Yes, there is a season. This year there were 5 Category 4 storms, which are very powerful, more in a season than ever before. And we saw more than once that tracking a hurricane can be very difficult using the traditional methods. At Florida State University in Tallahassee, they think they are onto something better. Here's ABC's Ron Claiborne.
It was the largest civilian evacuation since World War II. 2 million people fleeing their homes after the National Hurricane Center predicted that Hurricane Floyd was heading straight toward Florida. But Floyd ended up missing Florida altogether. Instead, it devastated North Carolina. To a handful of hurricane researchers at Florida State University, that was no surprise. They had predicted days in advance that it would curve away from Florida and hit North Carolina. This year, the researchers at Florida State University made a major breakthrough, compiling an extraordinary record of accurately predicting hurricane tracks, often much better than the National Hurricane Center. Earlier this month, the Hurricane Center said Hurricane Lenny would threaten Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. The Florida State team said it would miss both, and they were right. When Hurricane Irene approached Florida last month, the Hurricane Center said it would strike the west coast and veer away from Miami. The Florida State researchers said Irene would come from the south and follow a path straight to Miami. Again, they were right.
We feel confident that we have something in our hands that looks damn good.
What they have on their hands is a sophisticated computer called the Super Ensemble, a twin of the IBM Deep Blue computer that beat chess champion Garry Kasparov.
That Deep Blue has won the match.
The Super Ensemble computer essentially takes 15 different forecast models and combines them based on how accurate they were in the past.
We're basically removing the error, the weaknesses, and taking their strengths and using it to produce a better forecast.
The researchers are keeping their work in the lab for now. They say they need more experience before widely publicizing their findings, but they're confident they're on the right track.
If it's not the best, it's very close to the best at all times.
And better hurricane forecasting means people who are truly in peril will have more time to prepare or to escape. Ron Claiborne, ABC News, Tallahassee, Florida.
On the money tonight, the Federal Trade Commission has approved the merger of Exxon and Mobil to create the world's largest privately owned oil company. The two companies will have to sell off more than 2,400 service stations in order to ensure competition. A federal judge in Michigan has approved Dow Corning's plan to get itself out of bankruptcy, which would include paying more than $3 billion in claims to women with silicone breast implants made by the company. When we come back, Consumer Reports and the car maker's lawsuit.
Buying a car will never be the same because now you can check out any car you want and see how it stacks up to the competition whenever it's convenient for you. With our website, even when the showroom is closed, we're still open. GMBuyPower.com.
Did you see this? That's very interesting.
Yeah, look at that one.
Looks good.
What about that one? That's a good one. So, what do you think? Let's eat them.
Hershey's Pot of Gold. Not a bad one in the box.
Hank here's been selling hot dogs for over 20 years. He remembers when they were under $1.
Ain't much you can get for $1 now.
Unless you dial 1010-220. Then all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents and just 9 cents a minute after that. I told you, remember?
I thought you had taken too many hits. But then I dialed 1010-220. And Doug is right. I dial any day, any time. And I can talk up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents. Thanks, Doug.
Hey, anything for a pal.
Great. Hey, can you sign this for me?
Sure.
1010-220.
Welcome to the Home Depot Kids Workshop. Today we're going to be making a beautiful birdhouse. Everything okay? We need to put the bottom on first. There's one thing to show a young fella how to swing a hammer, but there's another thing to hold a nail while he's swinging it. And we have a list of different items that they get to make, and some of them are very talented.
Esta es la casa del pájaro chiquito.
Anytime you can show any youngster how to do something and do it right, to me that's the best reward you can have.
Good boy, Simon.
When your dog is the star of a syndicated comic strip, you get lots of fan mail. Okay, Simon gets most of it. When we ran the strip where Simon snubs his food, people sent all kinds of dog food. I read the labels, and in every bag of Purina One brand beef and rice formula, beef is the #1 ingredient. In lots of designer dog foods, it's corn. So I let Simon try Purina One. I'd say it went over pretty well. Purina One, second to none.
We're reasonably sure that on a list of organizations in America which people generally trust, you will find Consumers Union, which publishes consumer reports. ABC News works regularly with them on consumer issues. We're going to take a closer look tonight because Consumers Union is being sued by the car makers Suzuki and Isuzu, who say that the magazine rigged a test in which Suzuki and Isuzu did badly. Consumer Reports' mission, many of you know, is to test products, inform the public, and protect consumers. It's a non-profit organization and does not accept any advertising. The magazine has the 8th largest circulation in the country, 4.9 million subscribers. When the magazine concludes that a product is good or better than its competition, consumers respond. The Saucony Jazz running shoe got a Best Buy rating and company sales went up more than 30%. On the other hand, a bad report can dramatically hurt a company's sales, which is exactly what happened to Isuzu and Suzuki. Here's ABC's Lisa Stark.
It was a devastating picture.
Holy mackerel.
And it earned the 1995-96 Isuzu Trooper a devastating rating from Consumer Reports. Not acceptable. The same rating Consumer Reports had given the Suzuki Samurai in 1988 after a similar test. The car companies claim the magazine rigged the test, deliberately rolling the vehicles to boost circulation and raise money for a new headquarters. R. David Piddle oversees all product testing at Consumer Reports.
We would never rig a test. We didn't rig that test, and the charge that we rigged that test is totally false and outrageous.
Since 1973, Consumer Reports has tested hundreds of vehicles to see how they handle in a sudden emergency. If, for example, you had to steer quickly to avoid a child running into the road. In 1988, the Suzuki Samurai passed the magazine's standard test. Then Piddle decided to try it himself, taking the popular SUV for a run through the course.
I drove the car, and it suddenly tipped up on 2 wheels. That was a very scary experience. We'd never seen that before in all of our years of testing.
What happened next is at the heart of Suzuki's claim. Within 1 week, Consumer Reports engineers modified the test course to mirror the way Piddle had driven the Suzuki when it almost rolled over. The new course required tighter turns, more severe steering maneuvers. The car companies claim that almost guaranteed a tip-up. In fact, the Samurai did tip up and failed the redesigned course. The car companies declined to talk to ABC on camera, but in court papers they argue the new test course allows drivers to get any result they want, and a U.S. government agency agrees, saying probably any light utility vehicle could be made to roll over using Consumer Reports procedures. Piddle says the course was redesigned to test the stability of SUVs and is sound.
We've used that same test, that same adjusted test, for 11 years. We put more than 80 SUVs, pickups, and minivans through it, and only the Samurai and the Trooper have repeatedly tipped up.
The stakes in this lawsuit are enormous. All sides have already spent tens of millions of dollars in legal fees. And if a jury does find that Consumer Reports' tests were not fair, that could be a serious blow to a company that lives on its integrity. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Washington.
Closer look for today. We'll be back in a moment.
Excuse me, coming through. See ya.
Now bouillon's moving from your pantry right to your stove. New Weiler Shakers. Instant bouillon you can use as a seasoning. So shake up the flavor with new Weiler Shakers.
All right.
Nobody does it like you. He lives on the carpet. You want it to be clean. Hoover Wind Tunnel reaches deep down to pick up more dirt than any other clean air upright or canister. Hoover. Deep down, you want Hoover.
The hot flashes got pretty bad. Night sweats were ruining my sleep. Vaginal dryness made intimacy uncomfortable, and I was worried that estrogen loss at menopause could lead to osteoporosis, a long-term health problem. Menopause is complicated. Talking to my doctor helped. For me, she prescribed Prempro. It's relieving my uncomfortable symptoms, and along with calcium and exercise, helping prevent osteoporosis.
Prempro is only for women who have not had a hysterectomy. Prempro is not for every woman. You should not take Prempro if you've had any breast or uterine cancer, abnormal vaginal bleeding, abnormal blood clotting, liver or heart disease, stroke, or if you think or know you are pregnant. Tell your doctor about your personal and family medical history. Side effects include blood clots, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, breast tenderness, irregular bleeding, and headache. For more information, talk to your doctor about Prempro or call.
I'm glad my doctor prescribed Prempro. Now I'm feeling great. For me, it's Prempro.
All new interviews with the 10 most fascinating people of 1999, including the infamous intern.
Do you still like unavailable men?
Plus, the most fascinating person of 1999 revealed.
Tell me more.
An all-new Barbara Walters special, ABC Tonight at 10, 9 Central.
Coming up next on Channel 2 News, see the chaos surrounding Seattle's controversial conference through two very different points of view. And we'll examine why recent pedestrian accidents have so much in common. I'm Steve Dunn. News of the Northwest is next.
Just a review of our main story in Seattle today, street demonstrations against the World Trade Organization, drawing attention away from the World Trade Organization talks on removing trade barriers. The opening ceremony was canceled. President Clinton, who arrives in Seattle tonight, says he is sympathetic to the protesters, and he takes their concerns about environmental regulations and lost jobs seriously. But it was quite a day. That is our report on World News Tonight. Later on Nightline, more on what appears to be victims of the drug wars being dug up in Mexico. I'm Peter Jennings. We hope you have a good evening. Good night.
From ABC News, tomorrow, Donald Trump. He's got the fame and the money, but does he have what it takes to be the president? He sits down with Diane Sawyer on Good Morning America. And on World News Tonight, they're seduced by easy money, American teens, targeted by drug cartels to do their dirty work. The newest wave of drug smugglers on World News Tonight. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other